Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. Hugo Bros and Javier Aguirre actually played against each other in this stadium at World Cup '86 when it was Belgium against Mexico.
In the opening match?
Yeah, I think it was their first match.
Yeah, their first match, yeah.
That's right, yeah, and Mexico won 2-1. Hugo Sanchez scored the winner.
That was a great Belgian team as well, wasn't it? I mean,
it was. Well, reached the semi-finals.
Reminisce about that, but yeah, it made the semi-finals, then were destroyed by Diego Maradona. What are you seeing at the moment? It sounds like they've kicked back into another bit of the ceremony.
Yeah, well, guess what we've just seen. First time I've seen this in my life in the place where you should see it. What do you think?
Was it a small heron? One for people who've been listening since 6 o'clock.
Yeah. I'll give you a clue. We're in Mexico, and we're in a football ground.
Right. You've seen a Mexican wave, have you?
Yes, or as it's known here, a wave.
Yes. Yeah. Did you shake your head disapprovingly?
Do you know what? For once, I didn't.
Okay.
I thought, you know, if you're ever going to see it and approve of it, it is here. although it does remind me of, I remember Richie Benno once being interviewed for a newspaper column, one of those question and answer site type columns, and the question was, which sporting event would you least like to see? And Richie said, the World Mexican Wave Championships.
Looking at this group, because actually we haven't touched on the group as a whole. We've mentioned South Africa and Mexico, and actually trying to keep up with the number of groups that are here and who's in each one takes a little bit of doing, and we'll have to probably keep reminding ourselves, let alone you, who is in what group. The other two teams in this group are Korea and Czechia. So what would South Africa's ambition be here? And obviously to get out of the group, but where do they view themselves with the other three in this group, do you think?
I think in ranking terms, it's probably a group with the rankings that are closest to one another. I know Mexico are 14th, Bafana are 60th, and the other two sit somewhere in between. So there's no powerhouse, so to speak. We haven't got an Argentina or a France. There isn't a clear front runner in the group. And I'd like to think that if it means 3 points gets you out of the group, I'd like to think that Bafana could nick a victory in one of their 3 games and progress out of the group. And that's been the feeling amongst the squad going into this group, is that we can certainly cause a shock, if it is a shock, to get those 3 points that we so badly need.
Does it feel like a wide open group to you, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's Group A for average. You know, I really do. I don't think there's any you know, top teams. I mean, it wouldn't surprise, you know, anybody how this group would finish. You know, I think everybody feels that maybe Mexico will be the strongest team because of their home advantage. But you know what? I mean, football's a strange game at times, isn't it? And this is sort of a Mexican fan base who have felt the team have been mediocre to some.
Del fútbol que nos une a todos. ¡Que viva México! ¡Y que viva el fútbol!
Well, the first opening ceremony held here in 1970 featured a military parade, and most memorably, many thousands of coloured balloons. In 1986, there was a parade of flags and industrial quantities of confetti. This time, no formal speeches, no salutes to heads of state. Instead, a mixture of music, a degree of informal pageantry, and the raising of the flags of the 48 competing nations at this, the biggest ever World Cup. 3 times as many competing countries as there were back in 1970. This is a fairly rapid parade of flags. Brazil, the most successful nation in World Cup history with 5 wins. And coming up very shortly, Scotland. Ali back on the World Cup stage for the first time in 28 years.
Yeah, it's amazing, John, isn't it, when you think about it? 28 years, far too long for us, and there's the flag of our nation there, flying very proudly. Looking forward to see the boys in action.
Australia.
Many of these repeat visitors to the World Cup, but there are 4 debutants, including Curacao. One of 4 debutants, the smallest nation ever to qualify. Its population on a par with Chelmsford.
Ecuador.
Netherlands going through maybe the most prominent football nation never to have won the World Cup.
Japan. Japón.
Sweden.
Suecia.
And of course we can't ignore the geopolitical aspect of this World Cup, perhaps greater than at any that have gone before. Welcome guests in Mexico are Iran. Less so in the United States, to which they will commute on a day trip basis for their matches.
Islamic Republic of Iran.
República Islámica de Irán.
New Zealand.
Nueva Zelanda.
Spain.
España.
Cabo Verde.
Cape Verde, another of the
Cabo Verde.
debutants, one of 10 African nations at this
Saudi
expanded
Arabia.
competition.
Arabia Saudita.
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
France coming up here, Ali, many people's favourites.
Yeah, mine included John.
Francia.
Obviously involved in that. Well, one of the greatest finals we've ever seen, wasn't it?
Senegal.
What a shootout that was with Argentina. What a game.
Iraq.
Irak.
Norway.
Noruega.
You mentioned Argentina.
Argentina.
Here come the reigning world champions, also the winners. The last time the World Cup was held here in 1986.
Austria.
Austria.
Jordan.
Jordania.
Jordan and shortly Uzbekistan, the 2 other debut nations going through.
Portugal.
The 3 hosts will be the last to make their entry.
Democratic
And once the
Republic of
hullabaloo from
Congo.
Mexico has subsided, the great Italian tenor Andrea Bocelli will be joined by EJ and David Guetta in a performance of DNA, the anthem of the 2026 World Cup.
Colombia.
Colombia.
England.
Here come England,
Inglaterra.
represented
Croatia.
nations by local cadets who've been chosen to have the honour of carrying the flags.
Ghana.
Panama.
Panama.
And at the rear of the line, the 3 co-hosts. Canada, who open against Bosnia tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting to see what sort of reception the United States of America gets. But no question about the reception for Mexico.
Mundial de la FIFA 2026.
Canada.
Canadá.
The United States of America.
Estados Unidos.
Mexico.
A marked change of mood as the American flag is brought forward, which switches immediately to great joy as the tricolour of Mexico completes the set.
For you, Lee Blakeman and Clinton Morrison, they're doing that. And then tomorrow, the first game on BBC television will be Canada against Bosnia-Herzegovina in Toronto, but we'll have commentary here on 5 Live with Vicky Sparks as the second host nation get underway. Who else would you point us in the direction of in this South African team then, Dean?
Funny chappers, the 2 who I was most excited to see are both on the bench. So let's actually deal with the guys who are going to be on the pitch. So we've got Tebethel Mokoena in midfield. He came through at Supersport when I was there, and on pretty much our first training session, I said, "Wow, who's this boy?" He's a phenomenal midfielder, plays for Mamelodi Sundowns. He's just scored an absolute cracker in the Champions League final to pretty much win it for Sundowns. He's got a terrific long-range strike in his locker, and I'm hoping we see some of that tonight. The other one is a really interesting player. He's only 20 years old. It's Mbakazili Mbakazi, who only 6 months ago he moved to Chicago Fire from Orlando Pirates. He's just been named in the MLS All-Star team. He starts on the left side of a back 3. So really excited to see how he plays on the world stage.
Dean, what about the inclusion of Jaden Adams? Is that a surprise to you? With you're mentioning a couple of players on the bench. Who are they? The ones who you thought possibly would have started.
Yeah, so it looks like with Jaden Adams' inclusion, obviously he plays for Sundowns alongside Teboka Mokoena. So I guess that instead of playing with 2 midfielders and a number 10, we've gone for 3 out-and-out midfielders. The 2 that I'm almost disappointed not to see, one is Oswin Apollis, who's a tiny kind of winger, who's been one of Bafana's best players over the last couple of years. And there's a superstar in South African football at the moment who is Relebohile Mofokeng, who plays for Orlando Pirates, likely going to get Player of the Season in the South African Premier League. He is the kind of new Shabalala almost, the new exciting player, and I'm a bit disappointed not to see him from the start. I know we've got a couple of games to go. I'm sure we will see both of them at some stage making a big impact.
Do you know who's interested in Mofokeng, by the way? Chris?
Go on, I don't, Mark, but you've got better sources than me.
Rangers, apparently.
Oh, really? Well, he wouldn't want to take his career backwards, would he? He'd avoid that one.
Obviously, you're unbelievable. The other thing we should mention, and I'm sure everybody knows, but in some ways, John Murray, we're looking at matches now being 4 quarters, aren't we, in this tournament?
Yeah, with the water breaks. I've just had another look at all of the various tinkerings with the laws of the game. But yeah, the water breaks will be a part. Although I have to say, normally it's 30 degrees, isn't it, for a water break? And it's nothing like 30 degrees here. It's pleasant mid-20s.
But presumably every game has to follow the same protocol, does it?
I am thinking probably so.
What if there's a cold front, though?
Well, I know, yeah. Where's Dale Johnson when you need him? Maybe he'll send us a message in a moment. But tactically, Chris, it could change things, couldn't it, that? Because it gives teams a chance to reset, and they will be able to have a tactical breakdown from their coaches at that point.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams, a lot of managers have talked about the way that they've worked it in this build-up, but the fact that they're training for 22 minutes, taking the 3-minute break, so training with that sort of intensity and getting the players used to it. So yeah, I mean, as a former player, the amount of breaks, 3 breaks, isn't it? That is slightly unusual, but it's the same for everybody. So yeah, everybody will just have to get on with it.
Do you think it will take some of the chaos out of it, Dean?
Potentially. What's really interesting is that the South African league is actually a summer league, and so we're used to playing in 35 degree heat. And those breaks are fairly typical in the league, so our players shouldn't have any impact on them, really.
So there are those typical breaks there. And are they tactical? Do they tactically reset?
Absolutely. It gives you an opportunity. Like you see the goalkeepers go down with injury. We've seen it all season. They run over to the manager and get some tactics. It's absolutely an opportunity to get a message onto the players, maybe change shape or tweak a little something here and there. And I'm sure it's going to be used vitally across the tournament.
Was that a cheer, John Murray?
It is, because the flags have just been walked out. This is for and also what is new, remember, and actually right now as they unfurl the huge flags in each half of the pitch. Remember that FIFA logo I was telling you about that's hanging above the centre circle? Suddenly fireworks burst out of the FIFA logo, which is probably 100 feet above the playing surface, and it was like a Catherine wheel around the FIFA logo. And then off the roof of the stadium here at the Azteca, fireworks, smoke bombs, call it what you want, but in the colours of the Mexico flag, so green, white and red, and that must look incredibly effective from the aerial shots above the stadium.
And it did, and at the same time Infantino was pictured on the screens in the stadium, putting the World Cup on the plinth in the legendary Azteca. Dean, for the moment, thank you very much. More from Dean a little bit later on. Here we go then. Months, years of talking can now come to an end. The 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup is moments away from getting underway. The teams are coming out of the tunnel, led by the officials. Mexico, one of the 3 hosts, taking on South Africa, a repeat of the opening match from 16 years ago. Time does fly, and in the stadium for us, in the Azteca, Chris Sutton and our correspondent John Murray.
And rather fittingly, that red, white and green smoke hangs in the air inside the bowl of the Azteca Stadium, the colours of the Mexican flag. and we're about to witness the brand new pre-match ceremony. So normally we're used to seeing only the 11 players who will start from both teams lining up shoulder to shoulder. This all new for World Cup 2026. All of the squad is coming out, all 26 of them. So those huge flags are in place in each half. Absolutely massive they are. South Africa to the right as we look here, and Mexico to the left. And all of the players, including the substitutes, who eventually walk around. So the substitutes walk the furthest around that centre circle. Remember, that centre circle, background of blue, FIFA World Cup 2026 written on it in gold, and then the world map in the middle with USA, Canada and Mexico highlighted. And the flags will be raised from the centre circle up high above the playing surface as the national anthems are played. And first of all, it will be the South Africa anthem sung by the South African singer, Tyler. Stirring anthem of South Africa, and the players clap their hands furiously as they stand there in their silver tracksuit tops. And now listen to this. Onto the stage steps the Mexican singer Alejandro Fernandez, and we will hear the Mexican anthem, and we will watch the raising of the Mexican flag inside the Aztec Stadium.
Y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Ciño patria tus sienes de oliva, de la paz el arcángel divino, que en el cielo tu eterno destino por el dedo de Dios escribió. Mas haré un extraño enemigo, profanar con su planta tu suelo. Pienso, patria querida, que el cielo un soldado en cada hijo te dio, un soldado en cada hijo te dio. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero a prestar y el bridón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón.
What a noise inside the Azteca. People are throwing their sombreros in the air. More smoke bombs go off. We've had a fly past. The Mexican Air Force have just flown over the Azteca. And they've spewed out red, white and green as well. There's no mistaking where we are, Chris.
It's some atmosphere, some occasion.
Oh, helicopters have appeared. Helicopters carrying the flag of Mexico. 2 helicopters making their way above the Azteca and a huge Mexican flag flapping away, held by a cord from the lead helicopter. Amazing scene. This is what it's all about. This is the World Cup.
Yeah, and let's hope the match is similar than all the build-up. I mean, the stadium, first of all, just absolutely fabulous. What an arena to play your football in. When the World Cup starts, the talking stops. I think the players will be looking forward to getting the games underway. And Group A is fascinating. I think are so evenly poised. But you think, you know, the host nation, Mexico, in front of their own fans in their own backyard. They want to get off to a flyer.
Look now, everyone's throwing their sombreros in the air. Thousands of them are coming down on us. All around the stadium. These sombreros, these flat pieces of cardboard with a hole in the middle that make it look like you're wearing a sombrero. People are throwing them like frisbees and they're flying all around the Azteca Stadium. What a scene. Well, we had toilet rolls in Madrid.
Exactly.
We've got sombreros in Mexico City.
Which do you prefer, John?
Quite. Do you know, I think it's a score draw. Well, I'm pleased to say as well that listeners to the World Service are joining us. This is going live to Sub-Saharan Africa, and quite right too when it's the World Cup. This is the opening match. It's Mexico against South Africa, and stand by for 39 days of, I hope, I trust, stunning coverage from BBC Radio, on BBC Sounds, on the World Service, and also right across the BBC on all of the many and varied platforms, BBC website, on the television, and indeed almost everywhere you'll look on the media you will find the BBC across this. The teams for this opening match: Mexico with Rangel in goal, Ochoa on the bench, back 4 of Reyes, Montes the captain, Vasquez and Gallardo. Then in midfield, Lira with Roberto Alvarado and Alvaro Fidalgo either side of him, so no place in the starting lineup for Edson Alvarez. Then Brian Gutierrez, Julian Quiñones, and then the former Fulham man, as he is now, having just signed for Wolves, Raúl Jiménez, starting a World Cup match for the very first time, having just turned 35. And South Africa, as we were hearing a little earlier from Dean Furman, very much a South African-based team, with 6 players from the Mamelodi Sundowns, 1 from Orlando Pirates in the starting lineup, as well as 1 Premier League player in Lyle Foster. They have the captain, Ronwen Williams, in goal, who we heard from earlier, 3 central defenders, Ocon, Sapisi and Mbukazi, then Mudeo on the right, Madiba on the left as the wing-backs. In the middle, Sitole with Jaden Adams and Tebo Mokoena either side of him, and then Ikram Reyners and Lyle Foster. So we're about ready to go. The smoke is drifting away out of the magnificent Aztec Stadium. Today this stadium becomes the first to stage 3 World Cup opening matches. The other 2 ended in draws, by the way. Also, it extends its record as holding the most matches in the World Cup. This is its 20th World Cup match, more than any other World Cup venue. How on earth must the players be feeling down there on the surface, with 83,000 people watching on here, but many, many millions more following this around the globe. The World Cup is about to begin. Group A is about to begin. The Brazilian referee, Wilton Sampaio, stands. Mexico, green shirts, white shorts, red socks. South Africa in the almost all yellow kit with the green numbers. And walking forward into the centre circle, it is going to be Brian Gutierrez, Mexico's number 26, who will get the first touch of the ball. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in Mexico City. It's Thursday, the 11th of June, 2026, and this is where the 23rd Men's World Cup Finals tournament begins. Brian Gutierrez passes the ball back into central defence, and the Azteca gives this World Cup a great ovation to get underway. The very first World Cup to be hosted by 3 different countries, and the Olés begin. And sitting to my left, even Chris Sutton has a sombrero on his head. Chris, you've bought into it.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep it. It's free. It landed on my head, and it's going to stay there, John. But I can't wait for this. Really can't. I mean, what's going to be fascinating with this game is the Mexican team. Are they going to feel burdened by this big crowd, or are they going to feel bold?
Yeah, well, they've got the ball on the right-hand side with their right-back Reyes, and they go into the centre circle where it's taken down by Johan Vasquez, who has a wonderful left-sided central defender. Now Quiñones is going to play it back towards the halfway line. As I say, Mexico playing from left to right. Their coach, the experienced Javier Aguirre, 67 years old, although he's a youngster compared to the South African coach Hugo Broos, who at 74 years old today becomes the oldest coach in the history of the World Cup Finals, but he won't hold it for long.
Yeah, that'll change pretty quickly. Will it change twice quickly?
It will change twice quickly.
Bernardo, Eric Lira, who will shield the back line for Mexico. Alvarado. Jaden Adams.
Well, that was comfortable enough, wasn't it? They certainly went for a high press there, Mexico, but South Africans played out very well.
It's going to be quite instructive. You always find that with the opening game, Ali, in terms of the pace of the game because of the conditions.
Yeah.
Also, the different interpretations of refereeing at various competitions. The guidelines have been laid down very clearly ahead of this one, the nuances, the changes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the players adapt, obviously, John. Hopefully they will, and they do it quickly.
Javier Aguirre in charge of Mexico for the 3rd time at a World Cup. Played in one, was assistant manager at another. Alvarado. Caught late there by Madiba. Yeah. Nathan Zampar was only a yard away.
It's one of those ones, he just got there first, knows he's getting there first, and knows he's going to collect one. There you are.
Gutierrez over the ball with Alvarado. Mexico certainly have some height in the form of Cesar Montes. 6'5" of him.
He tried it, didn't he? He's tried to play it on the left-hand side of the wall. I don't know if it was on. He obviously thought it was. With the look you've just given me, you didn't think it was.
I had my doubts. Actually, 16 years to the day since Il-Tree were the opening day guests at South Africa's World Cup party. Mexico returning the compliment here. And this is Israel Reyes. And Raul Jimenez!
What a save. Reyes does really well, and he gets a first-time ball across. Jimenez, I don't think he meets it cleanly, to be brutally honest. I think it comes off his left shin, but he does ever so well, keeps it down. but not as well as Ronwen Williams. What a save!
Corner on its way, and Ronwen Williams deals with that as well. And Bakazi's header. And Madiba can try and clear it, but he fails to do so. Vasquez. Adams now gets it up to Reyners for South Africa. Foster. Suspicion was that Reyners may have strayed offside anyway.
Well, he went and then realised he was just going offside, held his run, and by that time he'd made the pass. Look at this, keeps it down really well. I think it comes off his left shin. I don't want to do him, not serving injustice, but he keeps it down well, doesn't meet it with his foot, but the power is there, the accuracy is there. Good save, good start to Mexico.
Nearly a great start for a player who at his 4th World Cup in the tender age of 35 finally gets to start a match. 6 substitute appearances prior to this without scoring a World Cup goal.
What I like about it though, John, it's worth mentioning, first time they get the ball in the wide area and Israel Reyes just puts his foot round it and puts it into the box. If you're a forward, that's all you want.
Jesus Gallardo and Johan Vasquez. Mexico have become known, they don't like it, as the team that tends to go out at the round of 16. Happened to them 7 competitions in a row, and then they actually crashed out at the group stage in Qatar. Home advantage is a big thing for them, particularly at altitude. And no coincidence that their 2 best World Cup showings have both been in home World Cups. Quarter-finalists in 70 and 86.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Qatar aside, generally speaking, the home nation does very well in the opening game. Clearly next will be hoping that's the case. Appealing for a corner there, weren't they?
Corners are one of the areas that VAR are able to adjudicate upon now. Hard to put into words the sense of excitement that has engulfed Mexico City over the past couple of days.
I've got to say, John, I'm getting wrapped up in it myself. I went pitch, you and I were pitch side before the game today, but managed to sneak pitch side yesterday myself for 5 or 10 minutes, and wow, what a thrill. And I was listening to Wrighty there before. He feels the exact same way. Probably our first World Cup that we can remember. It was 1970.
There is something tremendously evocative about this place. The sheer scale of it, the steepness of the stands, the fact that much of the architecture is as it was back in 1970
that's
when Pelé was here.
Yeah, that's the one thing that struck me, John. You know, generally speaking, time changes a lot, but you walk back in here and you could have been in 1970.
The best way I can put it is that to walk in here, it's almost like finding yourself engulfed in one of those World Cup films. South Africa giving the ball away dangerously, very dangerously. Julian Quiñones has the honour of scoring the first goal of the 2026 World Cup. And I swear, you'll hear the noise all the way from the Azteca to Acapulco.
Well, what a noise. You're absolutely right, but what a defensive blunder this is. Oh, he takes too many. The heavy touch. It's a terrible touch. Oh, dear me. Sitoli onto his left-hand side. Wow, how quick is Lira coming in? How quick does Lira come in? And the finish keeps it down, doesn't get through the goalkeeper's legs, it does. Touches his right foot in the way back. Quinones, what a finish, but what a disaster for Sitoli.
It has taken just 9 minutes for the co-host to stamp their mark on this World Cup. And it's a player who actually outscored Cristiano Ronaldo and Ivan Toney in the Saudi League this year. Led the scoring chance there, and Julian Quinones, although a winger, is a prolific goal scorer.
Yeah. I was noticing his position. I mentioned Gutierrez playing as a 10. He's actually playing as a 10 in the right, and Quinones is playing a 10 in the left. That's where he's going to pick up that ball and that little bit of space in front of the three centre-backs. But I'll mention it again, John. You know, if you're Hugo Broos, you cannot believe the start you've just given. The one thing you want to do, if you can, you keep the stadium as quiet as you possibly can, if you can. And they've just done the complete opposite and given a goal away.
He has his name in the history books now, just like Shabalala at the 2010 World Cup when he fired South Africa in front, and it's Hugo Broos, who today, for a few hours, becomes the oldest manager ever in a World Cup game. It's he who's got the early headache.
Oh, a penny for his thoughts here. Oh, running the risk of stating the obvious. They don't want to lose another one in the next 5-10 minutes.
The hope was to string 5 across the back, 3 and at times 4 across the midfield. And to hold it as tight as possible for as long as possible, and that's out of the window already for South Africa.
Yeah, and the disturbing thing from their point of view, they've not had to work for it, it's just a mistake.
There goes Jimenez. And it's touched behind for a corner. And the overworked Kuliso Mudau. Gallardo. Jimenez, it's difficult to get over the ball.
Tell you what, it's a great delivery. Jimenez timed his run actually very, very well, but he just gets caught underneath it a little bit.
President of FIFA, you heard the reaction of the crowd when his face appeared on the screen. Alongside him was Victor Montagliani, the head of CONCACAF, which is the regional power here. The Mexican president actually gave up her ticket to be here. She's been the subject of fierce criticism from the population, and she thought it would be a populist move to give it to a 21-year-old local lady who otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to get into the game.
And it's actually worked against them, did you say there, or in terms of the nation's reaction?
No, I think the nation's I think she would have to do a lot more than that to become popular, Ali.
I think we'll probably leave it there.
Might need to be free tickets for everyone for every Mexico World Cup game before the pendulum swings in Miss Scheinbaum's direction. Don't you go getting me into political difficulty.
No, you and I are not going there, that's for sure.
Mudau. Excellent throw.
Yeah, he wanted it inside, didn't he? He actually made a good run there, Mudau.
Flair that went spinning.
Just obstructs him, doesn't he? Well, he's done a lively start, hasn't he?
Yeah, so nearly a glorious start.
Just keeps it low and hard, doesn't he? Take your chances.
37 goals in the Saudi Pro League this season. Oh, Colombia-born Julian Quiñones, he's a naturalized Mexican. Brian Gutierrez. Vasquez, Foster, Adams, Moquena, and Mudau. Sitole, Sabisi. Makani. The player again fouled. First yellow card of this World Cup.
Just too quick for him, John, simple as that. Goes in to close him down, but takes a lovely touch and goes by him, brings him down. Pretty straightforward decision.
To Moquena.
That's a lunge, isn't it?
Moquena. South Africa struggling to get anything going in this game. This is a huge step up for the majority of their players.
Yeah, of course it is. A vast majority of them playing in the home country. I know a couple abroad, haven't they? European.
Yeah. 5 in Europe, but
Chicago.
Generally with lesser clubs, and a couple in MLS in America. 19 home-based players. 8 of them from the Mamelodi Sundowns, the African Champions League winners. And 8 from the Orlando Pirates, a famous name in South African football down the years, who won the title this year for the first time in 14 seasons. South Africa at their 4th World Cup. Hosted in 2010, it's actually the first time they've qualified in 24 years. In that period, there are plenty of names that were familiar to us as watchers of football in England and Scotland. Much less the case now. It's a whack. And it's not the worst whack from a player who must be brimful of confidence in Quiñones.
Oh, he fancied it, doesn't he? I think it's Fidalgo that makes a run. He's inside, he's wanting it down the channel there. Wasn't too far away. But after scoring that opening goal, he was always going to have a shot, wasn't he?
His goal, incidentally, the earliest opening goal of a FIFA World Cup tournament since 2006, when Philip Lahm scored for Germany against Costa Rica after just 6 minutes. You've been doing some research, haven't you, into
Yes.
the weight of goals in opening fixtures at World Cups?
Yeah, not one to tempt fate, but there's usually a few. I think there's 19 in the last 5 or something, so I don't want to tempt fate, but we're off to a good start, John. They certainly calmed down a little bit, which the South Africans will be delighted with, John. They're just getting a little bit of possession of the ball now. The whole thing looked as though it got to them for the first 5-10 minutes or so, but they're enjoying a wee bit of possession now, which they'll be pleased with, obviously. Nice football there. See, I don't think that's a bad ball, John. I think the centre forward has to stand up and be a wall. Well, the midfielder's raging with him, and I get it. Not the best of challenges there.
We get an idea, as we mentioned, about the refereeing tolerances in the opening fixtures. The other thing we're about to experience for the first time is a hydration break, which is going to be present in both halves of all 104 games, whether played beneath a roof or not.
Are the commentary teams allowed to participate in that?
Water only. Alvarado. As long, of course, as we all know, to our cost, that it's in a clear, unbranded bottle.
Yes.
Cafu, Roberto Carlos, a couple of decent fullbacks.
Baggio was there as well,
Yes,
you
he
know.
was. It was the last World Cup on this continent that finished with Roberto Baggio's penalty skied high over the bar in the final. And of course that same World Cup had started with a penalty by Diana Ross, which was equally unsuccessful. I detected a little disappointment on your part, Mr. McCoy, that Shakira didn't attempt a spot kick today.
Tell you which was, she was sounding very well anyway, that's for sure.
Another yellow card. And Gutierrez.
Again, it's late, doesn't need to make a challenge. Goalkeeper didn't look particularly clever at this one.
After this, we should get the hydration break. It's a rare platform so far in this game for South Africa. Mokoena. Umbakazi. Quinones. And that should be the cue for a drink. So what have we made of the opening 24 minutes?
Well, I think it's calmed down a little bit from South Africa's point of view, which they'll be delighted about, John, because they looked nervy, I thought, opening 5-10 minutes or so. To be fair to Mexico, they clearly came out the traps, had a lot of possession, were very aggressive, they're on the front foot, and that's how they got the goal. I mean, Sotoli is, you know, he dallies on the ball. You can't do that at any level, particularly not at this level. And Eric Lira was all over him, and it produced a chance for Quinones, keeps his shot down, and, you know, it's a good finish. So the game has calmed down a little bit, but you'd have to say Mexico deserve to be in lead.
This is game number 1 of 104. Game number 2 of this World Cup is also on ITV. South Korea against Czech Republic, which is later tonight.
In the United States with Chicago Fire. One who's just been relegated in Portugal with Tondela and Lyle Foster of Burnley.
Yeah. No, and I think he's only had, scored 3 goals this season, so he's hardly...
However,
he's hardly on a high, John, is he?
But we do know in international football it can be the case that sometimes international teams can be greater as a team than the individual parts.
No, absolutely, and you know, I think that's the hope for South Africa and Hugo Broos coming in to this tournament. There's no doubt that the manager has improved the team over the last few seasons, but yeah, because of the domestic element to their team, you know, in many ways they're unknown coming into this competition. You say Mexico would have the better pedigree of players, but South Africa have shown through qualification, you know, finishing above the likes of Nigeria in their group, that they can play. But I think this first half they've been a little bit shell-shocked and overwhelmed maybe by the whole occasion. Maybe that'll settle them down after this drinks.
Yep, the hydration break, as they call it, is over. That's the voice of Chris Sutton. This is 5 Live from the BBC. We're on the World Service as well in Sub-Saharan Africa, and we're here at the Azteca Stadium.
A legendary Mexican figure in Memo Ochoa, who is here as the number 2 keeper, and a thorn in many good team sides. And he, like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, is taking part in a record 6th World Cup.
It's remarkable, absolutely remarkable.
And his is still the face that adorns many of the billboards.
Yeah, we noticed that, didn't we?
Rangel has a pretty tough act to follow. So the 3 minutes that we've just had for hydration will be tagged on into first half stoppage time. Modiba. Ocon. The few that plays abroad with Hanover in the German 2nd Division. Bukazi. Muda. Sotelo caught out again in midfield. Fidalgo. Quinones. Back to Gallardo. Plenty of excitable talk in this city, at least, of Mexico potentially going a long way in the World Cup. And whilst they have home advantage, and in particular the Azteca to lean upon on occasion, you could see them making decent progress. Gutierrez came back the other way, and it's Ocon who clears.
It's a good block, really is. I'll mention it again, he does really well, Gutierrez. He plays a little bit deeper and Jimenez, and it gives him a little bit of space to run into beyond Jimenez, and he's done it on 2 or 3 occasions, and he's done it very well.
Alvarado. Reyes. South Africa's luck with home advantage would have run out after the round of 16. Tecker only staging 5 games. 3 in the group stage, round of 32, which could involve Scotland, round of 16, which might involve England. And if it comes to either of those scenarios, Steve Clarke and Thomas Tuchel will quickly be made aware of Mexico's extraordinarily strong record in competitive internationals here.
It's unbelievable, that record.
60
John.
years, they've played 85 competitive games here and lost just 2.
It's stunning, that record. Absolutely. I mean, just have a think about that. Let that sink in. I mean, if that'd been Brazil, you would say, well, okay, maybe. But it's unbelievable.
Cesar Montes. Sabisi. Sitole. Mbakazi. It's interesting, Ali, we're obviously learning game by game with the various new innovations for the World Cup, but the pace does seem to have dropped markedly, and the atmosphere as well has subsided since the hydration break.
I think there's a couple of factors in that.
There's Aubrey Madiba. Cut out by Reyes.
I think one of them is the obvious one, and it's the conditions, the heat. And the other one would be, I think, South Africa, like I mentioned, the last 10-15 minutes I've got a little bit more of the ball, which certainly quietens the crowd now.
Evidence of a wave going around the stadium. Fair to say, Ali, it won't be the last.
I wouldn't have thought so. Still a little bit untidy the last 5 minutes or so, particularly from the Mexican side.
Mexico unbeaten in 2026, all friendly fixtures. Here's Foster. There are just moments of promise which are quickly nipped in the bud.
It's far better football. I'm just wondering, could Foster have swung a right foot at that? Bit of talent there as well.
Rudy Fuller,
yeah,
front right, who scored in the 1986 World Cup final here. Kalina behind him.
Yeah.
Come on, this is a team effort. I'll do some of the faces, you can do some of the others.
David Silva.
Thank you.
Carlos Puyol.
It's 2-2.
Okay, we'll call it a draw.
Gutierrez. Alvarado. Reyes on the outside, but he was sold a tad short by the pass. Roberto Alvarado. Ferran Gutierrez. Alvaro Fidalgo. Quiñones. Gallardo, and smothered. Gathered in with grateful glee by Ronwen Williams.
It's good goalkeeping, it's a good save. Should have gone a touch earlier. Good overlap, that's when he should have delivered it. He shouldn't have taken the touch.
Eric Lira. Being played out under overcast skies, which is probably a blessing. Temperature around about 23 degrees. Gutierrez, heavy touch. Jaden Adams. Mudau. Mbakazi. And a tame header from Foster.
Again, they come back into the game. It's going to take some header, not a lot of power on the, or pace on the cross, so he's got to generate any power himself. And there's the goalkeeper going down left hand, good save. Still think the cross should have gone in a touch earlier from Gallardo.
Setole. Mbakazi. South Africa qualified for this competition as winners of their group ahead of Nigeria. Getting into the World Cup stage for the first time since 2010. Their last World Cup game was a win against France, which sounds remarkable until you realise that France were in disarray under their coach at the time. And players were refusing to train.
I did watch the World Cup. It was quite tight at the end. I think it finished 18 points. Nigeria had 17 and Benin had 17, so they didn't have it all their own way for sure.
Eric Lira. Fidalgo. Lira. Was caught by Setole after playing the ball.
Yeah, it's a free kick, but he gets that because he takes a little bit of a heavy touch, which allows Setole to nip in and have a go to nip it.
Now at this point it becomes an assessment of whether or not the physio comes on, because given the new regulations, if the physio does come on for an injury caused by a challenge that didn't yield a yellow card for the assailant, then the player has to go off for at least a minute.
Not 100% happy with that one. We can discuss that later.
Discuss it now if you want.
I just think sometimes the team that has been fouled gets punished a little bit. I know why it's there.
Lira. Gutierrez. Jimenez. Fidalgo. Lira. Fidalgo again. His career with Real Madrid. Just one game for them. Quiñones nicely to Gutierrez.
Tidy, very tidy.
Putting Mexico on the front foot for a while.
Hello, my friend.
Gallardo.
Check.
Quiñones. Alvarado. Lira. In towards Raul Jimenez! It's a slow motion save.
Well, it is, but I think he waited to see whether he's going to get a touch. I looked along the line, I thought he might have been off, but he's not. Well, whoa, was he? He might be, you know. He might just be. As the ball went in, I just had a quick look at him and I thought he might just have been off, John. I think it's a good save. Better one than the first thought, because he waits to see what kind of contact the centre-forward's going to get on it.
Ronwen Williams has looked a really good goalkeeper. And he may need to be. Mexico in the mood. Shot from Quiñones deflected. Alvarado, Gutierrez. Quiñones denied by the base of the upright this time.
So it was lovely football that led to the opportunity. You're right, Ronwen Williams is doing well, but he had no chance with that. He comes back here. This is the touch that opens it up. Oh, it's a lovely side foot. He's so unlucky. He really is. We're getting a little bit of joy. I'll mention that again, John, in that area. Just about 5-10 yards short of the centre forward. Jimenez are getting a bit of space in there.
Mudau. Reyners. Gutierrez. Taken away from Sitole. Fidalgo. Mbakaza. Mokwena. Ikram Reyners. Mudau. Spins away off Gallardo for a Bafana corner. There's no particular rush to take it. Madiba has the task.
You would think, well, intents and purposes, this will be the last action.
We'll have the time for the hydration break tacked on as well, will we?
I've added that on.
You and I need to have a conversation about mathematical calculation. That's a fair whack.
Good effort, wasn't it?
It was. Mbakani packs a bit of a punch with his left boot.
Yeah, it's a comfortable save, but reasonable effort. I think there's another 30 seconds of this, my calculation. Miles it, to be quite frank with you.
Quiñones, goalkeeper hesitated for a moment. Good job that attack unfolded, because I was about to ask you whether you actually did maths at school.
Did well at maths, mate. Be very careful where you go with that one.
Your reaction to 4 minutes of stoppage time being advertised?
I'll be back. In my defence, I'm looking at that clock there, and we didn't kick off bang on 1 o'clock, right? That's it. There you go.
Let's turn the page. Raul Jimenez. You see the warning over time from the referee. Throw has to be taken within 5 seconds. It's Gallardo. Sit early. They made the mistake that led to the goal. A scintillating start from Mexico, ahead after 9 minutes. Adams. Modiba. Up against Alvarado. A goal kick. Much to the disappointment of South Africa.
I think it's... Oh, we've got a look here. He's right, it's a corner. That would have been the perfect opportunity to implement.
Indeed.
Yeah, you are a bounce back a wee bit.
We were toned. And you've got just under a minute to tell us your thoughts in summary on the first half.
Yeah, I think, like I said, John, I think South Africa deserving of the lead. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah, Mexico, I beg your pardon. I think South Africa were disappointed with the game. They started clearly. Mexico started in the front foot very aggressively. Here we go.
Brian Gutierrez.
Oh, he's just in two minds. He's completely in two minds. That's the run that he's been making all half. And I think he goes to hit it with the inside of his right foot and changes his mind, tries to toe bash. I mean, it's a really poor effort. Really disappointing effort. In fact, looks far worse from that angle, John. But I think they've obviously deserved the half-time lead. It looks as though they're going to get one up. South Africa will be really disappointed at the goal they lost. Means that Sotolo getting caught in possession. And he did get caught in possession once or twice. But it'll give them an opportunity to go in and regroup. But Mexico will be very, very happy with opening 45.
Yes, Jimenez has nearly scored on 2 occasions. Quiñones hitting the post. It's been mostly Mexico in this first half. The co-hosts off to a solid opening 45 minutes, plus a little bit. And they lead at the break through Quiñones. Ian Wright, Roy Keane, Gary Neville upcoming. Half-time in Mexico City in the Azteca. Mexico 1, South Africa 0.
Julian Quiñones, and the atmosphere and the reaction inside this stadium was something to behold. So 1-0 at half-time, Chris Sutton.
Yeah, Mexico came out of the traps as we all expected with the atmosphere pre-kickoff. They started fast. South Africa really were sluggish and maybe a bit of fear in their approach. Weren't really good enough or brave enough to play out from the back, and they were caught, weren't they? And Quiñones, who's been absolutely outstanding in the first half for Mexico with the goal. They could have, maybe should have been further in front, but at half-time, I think they'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, Mexico providing the individual performances so far of this World Cup, and the only goal. Julian Quiñones in the 9th minute. Half-time here in the Azteca. Mexico 1, South Africa 0.
Their only disappointment, Chris, will be that they're not more than 1 up.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the danger, isn't it? And you think, well, will South Africa offer more in this second half? I mean, I think Mexico have the better players. Alvarado is, looks got lovely left foot playing off that right-hand side. He's not the quickest, but great eye for a pass. And then Quiñones, I've not seen anything of him in truth, but you look at his goals record in the Saudi League.
Top scorer in Saudi League.
So he certainly knows where the back of the net is, and he took his goal well, went for power rather than placement, and people can look at the South African goalkeeper Williams and think, well, should he have done better? I think the pace did for him, but yes, even just not just a goal scorer. I mean, the turn and the pass for Gutierrez when he should have done better just before half time. But I think all things being equal, that it's a really good first half from Mexico, and they'll want more of the same, and just to get a big 3 points and gather momentum in this competition.
I should just underline, Mark, I did only mention it once, but for the entire duration of the first half, Chris has been wearing a sombrero.
Yeah. Why?
Well, I mean, it was put on my head, and it fits well, Mark.
Okay.
And I'll keep it, and hopefully I'll be able to take it home.
Has it not been in any way distracting?
No, I don't. Well, not for me. I don't know whether it is for John when I lean over.
I've occasionally glanced to my left. It has caught my eye.
Former South African captain Dean Furman with us as well. Dean, they are lucky to be only 1 down, would you say?
Absolutely. I think the only positive that South Africa can take from that half of football is that it's only 1-0, that they're still in this game, because it could comfortably be 2-0. They just really, that first 15 minutes, you could see that Mexico were coming with a high press. They continue to try and play out from the back, which is the South African way. We don't have a 6'4" striker up front who we can pump long balls to, so we're always going to play out from the back. But I think we gifted them a goal under pressure. Roman Williams passing the ball into the deep line midfielder. It's just a nightmare of a pass to receive for a sitting midfielder. Mexico, in fairness, had a fantastic press in the first 15 minutes, and South Africa couldn't live with it, and very lucky to just be 1-0 at half-time.
And I mean, Chris mentioned in commentary that obviously you don't have a big man up front for the long ball out from the back. But if you're going to get caught by the press, then if you're not going to go to a big man, you've got to go out wide, haven't you?
Absolutely, and having played with him, got full trust in Roman Williams, who his distribution, think of Pepe Reina, it's on that level. His distribution's phenomenal. So it's disappointing to see him play midfield into trouble, but that is something that we work on. That is something that South Africa will do time and time again. They'll look to play out from the back and try to build through the lines rather than go long, just purely because we don't have that big, strong number 9 who's going to hold the ball up for us. When it has got into the final third, when we actually have built up play and maybe taken the sting out of it and had a sustained period of possession, our final third has just been so poor. It's broken down within 2 or 3 passes max, and that's something that they're going to have to fix in this second half.
I suppose the danger, Chris, is that if South Africa try and chase this, Mexico will easily exploit the space even more and pick them off.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so. There's just better quality in the front line of Mexico. I think they're cleaner with the link up. It's okay playing 2 up top, but I don't think they've really linked up to decently at all in that first half, and that's been an issue. They're 2 guys, I think, who it seemingly like to run in behind. Lyle Foster isn't one who gets the ball in and sort of is clever with his hold-up play. So it's something, I think, for South Africa certainly to ponder at half-time, and maybe we'll see a change of shape. But you can only see at this moment this game heading in one direction, and that's a comfortable win for Mexico.
Have you just gone early with a half-time snack thinking I wasn't going to talk to you?
Hey, maybe.
It sounds like it.
Well, that's because I was eating, and then you came back to me, and then I had to swallow quickly, and then come back to you.
Right, back with John and Chris for the second half, and we'll have more from Dean. So just a couple of other World Cup lines for you. Argentina have called up Marcos Senesi to their 26-man squad. Obviously, he's recently joined Spurs from Bournemouth, and Wataru Endo has retired from international football. He's left the Japanese World Cup squad after picking up an injury. So the opening game of the 2026 World Cup is going the way of Mexico at the moment. One of the three co-hosts leads South Africa by a goal to nil. Second half on the way. Just after 9 o'clock, Richard Foster has the news.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
There have been two more resignations from the government after John Healey quit his post as Defence Secretary earlier. Al Carnes is stepping down as Defence Minister and Pamela Nash has resigned as Mr Healey's Parliamentary Private Secretary. John Healey accused the Prime Minister of being unable to commit the resources needed to defend the UK. The former Defence Secretary, Lord Hutton, says it was the right thing to do.
The resignation is a very colossal failure, actually, on behalf of government to get any sort of meaningful policy moving forward to help re-equip and rearm our armed forces. We've heard some great speeches from ministers over the last couple of years, but they just haven't been matched by the appropriate actions, particularly on resources.
Sir Keir Starmer says he'll increase military spending in a sustainable way. President Trump has cancelled planned strikes on Iran and has suggested discussions and final points on a peace deal have now been approved in negotiations. The president says the time and place of the signing of the deal will be announced shortly. Extra officers, police dogs and water cannon will be on the streets of Northern Ireland tonight after 2 nights of violence. 12 officers were injured and 16 people arrested last night. The rioting started after a knife attack earlier this week in Belfast. Counter-terrorism police are investigating a stabbing at a school in Greater Manchester earlier.
He's going to take a bad touch, and the rewards are great. That's why you press it, because you know if you win it, it's going to lead to a goal.
There's 48 teams in this tournament and 48 coaches, and most of them will be saying and setting up.
Gary, they won't.
Most of them will be setting up their teams to be able to play that little pass in there, bounce it back to the goalkeeper or bounce it out to the right centre-back. Most of the teams will play that way.
Gary, where would you...
It's not how we played, I get it, we don't take those risks.
If you put yourself in the goalkeeper's shoes and he must see that someone's going to press him.
Yes.
What will define a player, a striker, a goalkeeper?
Where would you rather have the bad touch?
Your decision-making. So to give it there, it's too risky.
Where would you rather have the bad touch, Poogs?
Yeah.
Out to the left or down the centre?
Hey, we've got 6 more weeks of this. Yeah.
Like the same as Gary's got
Don't go too soon. Right, in this supersized World Cup, the matches keep on coming. Later, 2:30 in the morning, South Korea against the Czech Republic. That's on the way.
She's found Nan's old recipe, asking Gemini for a visual. Oh, she's got to bake that now. What a treat.
Geely presents the Star A EMI Super Hybrid SUV, where innovation meets efficiency, where technology meets comfort, where quality meets affordability. Experience it for yourself. Geely Star A EMI. See the world in full. Proud supporters of Team England.
And then disbelief, anger. I'm not sure I'm over all of that now, to be honest, because there's so much work. There's so much work that Ben and myself have put in as well. So much time spent on the phone. So I think the overriding thing was shock that it was Ben who was involved in this.
Will Ben Stokes play for England again?
Look, no decision's been made. I don't see why not. At the moment, it's one of those times.
disappointing, certainly in forward areas. Mexico certainly been a far greater threat for sure. They just look as though they've got players that are sharper on the ball, they're cuter, capable of creating one or two chances. I mentioned the two boys that are playing in that kind of number 10, Gutierrez on the right hand side and the goal scorer Quinones on the left. They've got a little bit of quality, so I think South Africa all in all can consider themselves a little bit lucky just to be 1-0 down.
And away we go then, with South Africa in possession in a game that they themselves fairly publicly have said they regard as a bonus fixture. Anything they get is unexpected and therefore very welcome, but the meat of their World Cup campaign will come in subsequent games against the Czech Republic and South Korea. Here's Fidalgo. And he's failed to take advantage of a very promising situation, partly of South Africa's making. Gutierrez has a go.
I mean, that's just remarkable for the goalkeeper. It is Ronwin Williams. I don't know what. I mean, I'm baffled at what he sees there. And to be brutally honest with you, Fidalgo should do better. I think he was going to hit it first time, decides to take a touch, waits in the centre forward, waiting to move. And look, what are you thinking about there? Yeah, I know he's looking for a centre forward, but he's got to get a shot away, Fidalgo. I mean, that's a real opportunity. That should be 2-0. Goalkeeper's got away with it. I mean, that's incredible, John.
Mudau. Taken off his toe by Quinones. And it is Alvaro Fidalgo. Are you, having had the benefit of some thinking time at half-time?
Yes.
Are you in with Roy Keane in piling in on the goalkeeper for the goal as well?
No. I'm more on Gary's side. I think the goalkeeper has to shoulder some of the responsibility, yes, because I don't think it's a good ball into that area. However, come on, the midfielder, he has to take a better touch, come on. So I'm not saying that the goalkeeper's getting away with it scot-free, but I think the vast majority of the blame must go to Sitole in the middle of the park. And my main reason for saying that is I'm not seeing Roy for about 2.5 weeks till I go back to New York.
He's got a reasonably long memory. Jimenez, Quinones, away from Sitole, and then tries the wildly ambitious. Smirk on his face.
Yeah, I know, he's one of these players, John, you can see he's just a confidence player. You know, he's got the early goal, which he took well. And incidentally, I thought they were a little bit harsh on the goalkeeper for the goal as well. I'm not sure he's got time to, you know, close his legs and prevent it happening, but it's still a good finish, as Righty said. He just keeps it down low and hard and takes his chances and earns his little bit of luck, if you like.
Alvarado. Mexico have played in more opening games of World Cups than any other nation. It's their 8th, and you know they've never won one. It's actually been the first fixture of a World Cup.
Yeah.
Rather than their first fixture of a World Cup.
And what makes it even more remarkable is they're undefeated in their last 7 opening games.
When it's not been the first game of the tournament, yes. It's very complicated. But it is quite a contrast.
I think the viewers need to know you and I were discussing that all morning, how we were going to explain that.
I did say to you, didn't I, don't bother mentioning it. It's a useful ball. It's Brian Gutierrez who's in. And Sitole made a challenge, and the referee has to interpret that. First, was it a foul? Second, where was it? And third, was it the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity? And it was.
Oh. His only chance is if he gets saved with the flag, and I don't think he will. Oh, dear me. What a 50-odd minutes Yaha Sitole has had. Do you know something he does really well, Gutierrez, because he cuts right across him. There's nothing he can do. Look, he tries to go out the road. He's actually trying to stop. But the fact of the matter is, he catches him, down he goes. And the referee, there's a leg there. It's because he uses his body to cut across with the ball and puts his body between the ball and the defender, and he does it very well. And the inevitable thing happens. Down he goes.
So it's not taken long for the first red card of this World Cup to appear. Less than 50 minutes. And Mexico, who have looked by a margin the more forceful and the more effective of these two teams now, have a clear path towards what should be an opening victory.
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? Particularly the stats that we've mentioned in terms of the results in competitive games this stadium. There was even a little bit, I can't lie to you, John, there's a little bit of me half hoping he was offside to give the lad a break.
And he then suffers the indignity of having his name read out at great volume over the tannoy as poor Sotole walks away. Can Mexico extend the punishment? It's Raul Jimenez. Back to Gutierrez, now Gallardo, and that's wild.
Oh, he's leaning back, isn't he? The wall initially did its job from Jimenez, free kick. It was Reynolds that came off, yeah, off his chest, did well, stood his ground.
Well, a tall order for South Africa just became a mountainous task. Gutierrez. Challenge came in from Mudau.
He looks a good player, Gutierrez, John. It's my first real good look at him. I'm just wondering, is he just half a yard short of being absolutely top draw? Because he looks, he knows he can pick up space, and he knows make some good runs from deeper positions.
You just ignored Canelo Alvarez there, by the way. Here's Alvarado, way by Mudau.
Have I got that one?
You would if you'd been looking at the screen.
Yes.
The other player who I failed to identify in one of those earlier cutaways in the first half, certainly worthy of a mention, Hugo Sanchez.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The one thing I would say to you, and it's worth mentioning when you and I were speaking at half-time, although Mexico have been the better side and deserve to be ahead, just looking at them, I think they might struggle against top-quality teams, particularly in the middle of the pitch. I just think there's the area between front and back is too great, John, and I think really, really good top international sides will find pockets and areas in the middle of the park, unless, of course, they change a tactic when they're playing against, you know, better teams and make themselves more solid and difficult to beat, which is obviously an option they would take.
There's a clear route by which, if the seedings hold, Mexico would entertain England here in the round of 16. There's also a slightly lesser possibility that Scotland could end up here in the round of 32.
Well, it's certainly a stadium you'd love to play in, that's for sure.
It is the home of Club America, very decorated Mexican side. Reynolds. Mudau. Madiba. They just have moved, swerved a little bit.
Well, they certainly had another look, the goalkeeper, didn't they? Hell. There you are. Yeah, we had another wee look at it.
Reyes. We're going to see a substitution made by South Africa.
Yeah, I thought they made it earlier actually, because this would have sending off the. Just went straight to a 4-3-2, but interesting to see what they do here. Lyle Forster coming off, obviously.
And the player coming on is Talente Mbat, and he's obeying the 10 seconds rule. You have to race off the field. Otherwise, there's the penalty to pay of the substitute not being allowed to come on for a minute. Mudau. Guena. Sibisi. Jimenez. Defender is Ocon. And that's a foul. And therefore a Mexico free kick. Committed by the new arrival.
Yeah.
Jostling for space. Gutierrez, Reyes. Baggio, keeping a close eye on the top man at FIFA. Alvarado. Hugo Broos is a very experienced coach. 74, the man in charge of South Africa, is on the point of retirement. What could he do? What could he tweak? What could he adjust to give South Africa some sort of chance of digging themselves out of this hole?
Looking at it, John, it's going to have to look as though it's going to have to come from a set play, really. You know, they haven't been a threat at all when they've been 11 men on the pitch. It's totally obviously been to 10 men. They made the substitution. They've gone 4-3-2, but they're not going to make any impression at all on this Mexican goal, so it looks very much to me like a set play or a corner or something, John. But
Quiñones.
Here we go.
Alvarado who is arriving.
Just a couple of yards in front of him. It was a good run, timed his run well.
Sibisi. Players of your South Africa return at times like this to players with plenty of top-line experience. Benny McCarthy, Mark Fish, Sean Bartlett, Stephen Pienaar. Played with great distinction in England. Lucas Radebe and Phil Masinga at Leeds. A number of decent South Africans played in Scotland. I remember Johnny Hubbard, the Rangers winger,
who, if I recall, had one of the best penalty kick records ever.
Pretty much perfect.
Yeah, old Mr. Hubbard. Gentleman he was too, John.
Right, another substitution, again by South Africa, and it's their veteran playmaker, Themba Zwane. 36, he's been struggling with injury and he's replacing Jaden Adams.
Hugo Broos, he's just trying to get that life into his middle of his park, John, and forward areas, try and freshen up a little bit. Zwane's just come on this right-hand side.
These sides contested the opening game of the 2010 World Cup. South Africa took a spectacular lead early in the second half. Sipiwe Shabalala with a never-to-be-forgotten left-foot pile driver. And Rafa Marquez, former Barcelona player, equalised 10 minutes from time. Marquez, who is here today as the assistant coach of Mexico.
I did notice the coaches they played against each other as well in the World Cup.
The 86 World Cup, it's a really nice line. Belgium against Mexico in World Cup 86.
Very nearly Mudau got a sore one there, but I think he pulls out just in time there, Quinones.
Luis Chavez, midfield player, receiving some final instructions. Mokoena. Madiba, not the worst ball in the world. South Africa asking the question of the referee as to whether Ikram Reyners was impeded. Looks like it's going to be a double substitution by Mexico next. Jimenez got a little nudge. It's about to come on to Luis Chavez and the youngest player at this World Cup, 17-year-old Gilberto Moura. Quinones. Gutierrez. Here's the opportunity for that double change. Luis Chavez, you may remember, from the last World Cup, he scored a belter of a free kick against Saudi Arabia, which was nominated, although it didn't win the award, as goal of the tournament. And that's quite a welcome for the youngest player at this World Cup, Gilberto Mora. Very much the bright young thing of Mexican football.
What a welcome.
Plays for Tijuana on the US-Mexico border. His dad is a former player for them and now coaches the under-17s, in which his son has been playing the past couple of seasons. Quiñones. Alvarado. And Raúl Jiménez! A crowning moment in a glorious career for the veteran Mexican. His first ever World Cup goal at the ripe old age of 35. And it means that Mexico are most likely off to a winning start.
Yeah, it's a great goal. I mean, the finish, the execution. But I'll tell you, there's a touch in this move from Quiñones, John. Brilliant. This coming up here, that touch there, because it's slightly behind him, and he takes it brilliantly. Now look at Jimenez, like a proper old-fashioned centre forward, taking up the position at the back post. The delivery's excellent, matched only by the finish. Great goal.
That is a lovely moment for a warrior of a centre-forward who's overcome such adversity, that dreadful fractured skull.
John, you think of that horrendous injury that he had. Life-threatening, never mind career-threatening. Wonderful moment.
And there were tears in his eyes, as we all saw, and there still are. And it takes us neatly into the second hydration break. And it's difficult to plot a way back for South Africa now.
Well, it was difficult at half-time, John, to be honest with you. I mean, they haven't created an awful lot, virtually nothing. They're down to 10 men. I mean, Hugo Broos has tried to change it around a little bit. He's tried to freshen things up, get fresh legs on, get a little bit of energy. But it's so difficult. Particularly against a team that are comfortable on the ball, good in possession, excellent at home. I mean, there can't be any way back, can there?
Just a statistical note. It's underlay to Jimenez' magical moment. He draws level with Jared Borghetti. You may remember the name. He played for Bolton Wanderers in the Premier League eons ago. He draws level as the second highest scorer behind Javier Hernandez in the history of the Mexican national team. 46 goals.
There's that touch there, lovely. I really enjoyed that touch. Quiñones does well, plays it wide. Brilliant. And what Quiñones does there, John, he continues his run, which makes the full-back of the right-sided central defender come in and pick him up, allowing the space at the back post for Jimenez.
Memo Ochoa watching on, another of the Mexican legends. He's still in the squad, still active at the age of nearly 41. And it's a cheering moment, not just for Jimenez, but I'd have thought for fans of Wolverhampton Wanderers, who will be delighted to see their Mexican warhorse back in old gold next season. So the restart after the hydration break will be the kick-off again after that second goal. Jimenez Jimenez, who, by the way, is twice the age as his now teammate Gilberto Mora. Only a throw, not a free kick. Mexico see this through, which is looking likely. It's currently 20 to 3 in the afternoon. It's going to be one heck of a night in Mexico City.
Yeah. I think the place will be, well, it's electric at the best of times, but tonight might be rather special. At this time, it's probably worth reminding you that you've got an early flight tomorrow morning.
So have you. Jimenez. Flags up far side.
Yeah.
Could I remind you, we've come to this World Cup to enjoy ourselves, not to get worried over early flights.
No. Listen, believe me, it was not a complaint, it was merely a statement of fact. That was all it was. Don't want to champ your bed. Door tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
So Aguirre there. He's been the mastermind of 3 World Cup campaigns for Mexico. 2002, 2010, and now this. Alvarado, Raul Jimenez in again and blocked off at the pass. Referee sees nothing wrong with that.
And nor should he. It's good defending. The only thing that cost him in his area to check his run, he had to arc his run a little bit because he was going to go offside. Watch it, number 9. He goes and he arcs his run, and it's just good defending. Because he has to arc his run, that allows the defender to come back half a yard and make the challenge. Yeah, it's a good tackle, not a lot wrong with that. Sabisi just coming across here and doing his job.
Quiñones. That was Sabisi again, and this time he won't escape sanction.
So the right arm came up there to block him. Just takes a touch here. There's the right arm. Right across the throat.
Chavez. Quiñones. Vasquez, who plays for Genoa in Serie A. Quiñones, Jimenez, Quiñones, and Gallardo. Very casual play by South Africa. Very rugged challenge there to win the ball back.
It wasn't half a challenge. I think it was Vane came in. He timed it well when he had to.
entry of 2 more South Africans and 2 more Mexican players. The co-hosts first of all, and a change in the defensive midfield station. Edson Alvarez coming on to replace Eric Lira, and in so doing, winning his 100th cap. And Armando Gonzalez also coming on, and there's a big ovation coming the way of Raul Jimenez. Coming on for South Africa, Evidence Mahota, who's a striker. Their playmakers, Oswin Apollis. And Raiders, those being withdrawn. Alvarez to the goalkeeper Rangel. Cesar Montes, Roberto Mora, and now Alvarez again.
Substitution for South Africa. Captain South Africa. 6 out, 6 clear. Motivo. Replacement number 7. Embaixador número 7. Apollos. Out number 15. Fala número 15. Replacement number 17. Embaixador número 17. Mahupa.
Mora. Gallardo. And one more change for Mexico. This will complete the set. Alexis Vega is coming on. Played at the last World Cup and replaces the man that set the co-hosts on their merry way today after 9 minutes, Julian Quiñones.
Substitution for Mexico. Cambio para México. Number 16. Número 16. Julián Quiñones. Replaced by number 10. Embaixador número 10. Alexis Vega.
Luis Chavez. Mokoena. Again, another surrender of the ball, but this time not so costly for South Africa.
Oh, I wouldn't mind another wee look at that. I'm tending to agree with him at this moment in time. If anything's the other way about, I'll tell you it is. I don't mind telling you. It's a free kick the other way, if anything. McQueen is holding him off. Get away with one there, big time.
Today's attendance is 80,824 and 10 goals. Recordando con presencia de 80,824 espectadores, unido en absoluto.
That was just the attendance being read out. Savannah. Apollis. First one way, then the other, but no power or really dangerous direction in the shot. So what are our likely takeaways from match one of this World Cup, Ali?
Well, comfortable victory for the host nation. An expected one. I think both you and I could see this coming. I think South Africa were always going to be up against it, John, but when you get down to 10 men, you know, against a side worth repeating who have got a quite remarkable record in this tournament, in this stadium, well, competitive matches in this stadium, I think Mexico will get better. I think it was a tough ask for South Africa. I think they will have to improve in forward areas. I mean, they don't look like scoring a goal, to be honest with you. That's their biggest problem. Mexico will have tougher tests ahead, John, without doubt.
Now, the referee here is coming across towards the VAR monitor. After lengthy discussions, which involved the goalkeeper Rangel. It's that challenge on Alvarado that seems to be attracting their attention there.
Oh, come on. He just tries to pull him back with his left arm, doesn't he? It's an open arm. It's an open left hand. John pulls him back.
Christina Unkel is our refereeing expert. Christina, your take on this?
Yeah, this one caught me by surprise, but taking a look at it, when you have that swipe in the impact and it hits the front of the face, that is the angle that we need to see for that contact. That is a slap. That should be a red card issued by the referee for violent conduct.
Okay, thank you, Christina. Let's see whether the match official Wilton Sampaio comes to the same conclusion.
After review, attacker number 11, commissaire van Breek, is arms directed in the face of the defender. Decision, direct review, red card.
Oh dear. Taking an eternity to reach for his pocket as well. And now, for the second time today, a South African player is red carded. Themba Zwane this time, the oldest player out there for Bafana Bafana. And their best case scenario now is that they lose this game and finish with 9 players. You heard the reasoning from Christina?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Alvarado sticks his backside into the player, commits a foul, and then I think Zwane definitely brings his left arm round to pull him back a little bit. I think the decision is extremely harsh.
Alexis Vega. And now this surely has just damage limitation for South Africa.
No, it's the interpretation again, John. Is there enough for VAR to get involved? Clearly they think there is. I'm not so sure there is, but there is no doubt the left arm comes out, the left hand comes out. It's an open hand. Christina described it as a slap. I think the Mexican goes down and there's no real need to go down. That's another thing.
You are looking at it in the context of a man who's enjoyed many a Saturday night out in Glasgow.
That, of course, should be taken into account.
I remember one famous opening game to a World Cup in which a team from Africa finished with 9 players. That was Cameroon in 1990.
You remember it? Incredible, wasn't it?
But
yeah, I know,
they
mate.
knocked the holders on their heads. and won by a goal to nil. Francois Oman Biek with 9 players by the end of the game. It was one of the great World Cup shocks. There's no prospect of South Africa staging any sort of repeat of that from this dire situation.
Now this is an interesting situation now, John, because if you're a Mexican defence in midfield, you just want to keep the ball. But if you're a Mexican forward, you're absolutely bursting for a goal.
Alvarez. Chance here for Mexico to inflict some late damage on a South Africa side who've contributed to their own downfall today. Vega. Here's Gilberto Mora. And then Gonzalez. Didn't quite run for Luis Chavez. That would be Mexico's perfect day if the 17-year-old scored a goal.
Wouldn't it just?
And if he did, he'd be the second youngest player ever to score at a World Cup, just one day older than Pele was.
What a start that is.
There's more where that came from as well. And that's the referee's view of what eventually was judged to be a red card offence.
Yeah, actually, good view of it, the referee. Tell you what I'm looking forward to now. Listening to Roy, and I want to hear Roy's interpretation of that red card. It's going to fascinate me, that.
I'm just trying to build bridges with Mr. Keane.
No, I'm not moving from my seat until I hear what he's got to say.
I know South Africa have been a long way short of great, but it's been a really good occasion.
Yeah, it really has. You know, South Africa won't agree, but in terms of the tournament, the hosts, it's probably a perfect afternoon, really, hasn't it? I mean, sorry, John, regardless of the 2 red cards, which obviously the boys will discuss, regardless of that, I mean, they've deserved the victory.
Gonzalez. Trapped beneath the player. Next for Mexico, it's a trip 340 miles west of here to Guadalajara to take on South Korea. And then back here to the Azteca for the game against the Czech Republic. And the top 2 in each of the 12 groups go through, and the 8 best third-place teams. Hugo Broos, disappointment on opening day, but still 2 chances to rectify matters. And after this World Cup, that's the end of a 38-year coaching career.
Yeah.
He's going to go and enjoy some time with his grandchildren back in Belgium.
So he should. I think it's also worth mentioning, he doesn't have Luke well, doesn't he? The coach has been very good to him and for him.
Alvarez. Bernardo. Gilberto Mora. And Bukazi. Solidly won by Alvarez. And was caught in frustration, I think, by Bukazi. How long to go, Ali, do you reckon?
Well, I reckon there's 2 minutes plus added.
Well, let's start with 3 minutes, shall we, for the hydration break. It's actually going to be 7.
Does it help? Yeah. It's more or less what's it.
Chavez. Alvarez.
One thing it will be, John, it'll be a long 7 for the South Africans.
It is just attack against defence now.
Yeah.
Alvarez sliding in for Armando Gonzalez. Now Alvarado. Cesar Montes. Alexis Vega. Mudau. South Africa have actually got players in numbers forward here. Montes makes the challenge.
I don't like using the term, but that is a good foul, because that was 4 against 3, which is an absolutely remarkable thing to say for a team that's got 9 men.
Wow. Red card.
Oh, wasn't that good? That's incredible.
Cesar Montes sent off, so we've now had 3 players dismissed in the opening game of the 2026 World Cup.
There's no doubt it's a free kick.
But is it a red card? Christina Uncle, come in, guide us.
Yeah, so they're going to be taking a look at these 4. So this is being reviewed from VAR. The biggest question you really have is the direction to goal, right? There's no defender that's going to step in and materially defend him. His next touch will most likely, but for being fouled, would have been going inside. This is not a clear and obvious error to overturn the referee's decision, so the red card for denying obvious goal-scoring opportunity will stand.
Okay, very clear, Christina, thank you. We go with the call on the field by Wilton Sampaio. So we've had more red cards than goals.
Well, the amazing thing is he's made that tackle knowing he's given away a free kick, but he doesn't think there's any way in this earth he's going to get a red card for it.
I have to say, I was very surprised to see
So
that
was
goal.
I. So was I. That's what I said. Actually, in terms of the free kick, he knew exactly what he was doing, because the South Africans were on a 4 against 3, which, as I mentioned earlier, John, for a team of 9 men was remarkable in itself.
So 10 against 9 now. If Ombukazi whacked this into the far corner, we'd be in for an interesting finish. Well, he's not going to get a chance to whack it.
I mean, it's remarkable. You're not getting a shot at goal. You know, you're down to 9 men. You've got a free kick, not 19, 20 yards out. The very least you should be doing is getting an attempt to work your goalkeeper.
Here's Makota. Apolis. Mudau wrong-footed. We're only 1 short of the record for red cards in a World Cup fixture, which stands at 4. That oh-so-rugged game between Portugal and the Dutch in Nuremberg in 2006. For Magopa. A weary Mudau. It is the first time since that day 20 years ago in Nuremberg that there have been 3 red cards in a World Cup fixture.
Plenty of talking points for the lads.
Vega. Seized upon by Apollis. He should go beyond the 7 advertised minutes because of the time it took surrounding that red card for Cesar Montes. And it's becoming a rather frustrating stop-start conclusion to this game.
Yeah. Clearly stands on his right foot there. Vidal will have felt that.
And as if to match the Mexican mood, bright sunshine breaks out. 2 goals, 3 dismissals, and a perfect start for the co-hosts. Mexico off to the start that they dreamed about. The game rising to no particular heights in itself. But as for the Azteca, that was a treat. The World Cup is up and running, providing talking points aplenty. Mexico, the first to notch a victory. It's finished in the world-famous Azteca Stadium in the Party City tonight, Mexico City. Mexico 2, South Africa 0.